Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents Scents. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a fragrance from the house of Mind Games. That fragrance is none other than this one right here, Grand Master. Now this is the second Mind Games fragrance that I own. Actually, the second Mind Games fragrance that I've ever smelled. The first one is this one, Blockade, which is a fragrance that I think is absolutely fantastic. Love this one. It's been compared to the smell of Creed's Aventus, but they're pretty different. Maybe you get like a little similarity in the opening, but this one has a great green mango note that definitely sets it apart. Huge compliment puller. As I said, I love it. And the whole reason that Mind Games was even on my radar is because a bunch of you guys had emailed me before I had ever talked about them and told me that I needed to check them out. More specifically, this one, I got a lot of information from you on. You guys telling me the Grandmaster is the dopest, the illest, the greatest. But I got Blockade first because I'm not good at listening. But now I've rectified that. I have Grandmaster. Now this was sent to me by soavantgarde.com, so shout out to them for sending this one my way. It is a tester. That's very handy because now it has the notes on the back of the bottle. In case I forget, I can just cheat. And if you ever order from So Avant-Garde, they have a lot of different fragrances on their website. Use the code ASHTON20 for 20% off your order. And if you ever order anything from Mind Games website, use the code CHECKMATE10. That'll get you 10% off your order. And you will definitely want to use that code because Mind Games fragrances are not inexpensive. These retail for $345 for the full presentation. At least this one right here does. Now, as I said, this one is a tester. I don't have the full presentation for it, but I'll show you the full presentation for Blockade so you can use your imagination and imagine what Grandmaster's presentation must look like. Or you could just look at this picture right here. But that's not as much fun as using your imagination. So here is the presentation for Mind Games Blockade. So you have there on the front, name of the fragrance, name of the house, a couple notes that are some of the focus notes of the fragrance. So you can see for Blockade there, green mango and peppercorn. You have the size and concentration at the bottom, extrait de parfum. Mind Games logo up top. Little info on the fragrance itself on the back of the box. And then on the bottom, you'll find your badge code, barcode, and your ingredients. But again, this is for Blockade, not Grandmaster, so away it must go. Shouldn't have done that. Here we have the bottle for Grandmaster. The notes that they have listed on this one, Rose Absolute and Coffee. You have the name of the fragrance, name of the house right there on the front on that plaque. And all of the bottles have a different cap, which is supposed to be synonymous with another chess piece. Yeah, see, it makes sense. So we are looking very kingly with Grandmaster here. You have on the bottom a sticker which has your batch code. And since this is a tester, as I said, it has the notes on the back as well. Cap clicks into place. I probably would not try to pick this one up by the cap though, because it's a decently heavy bottle. And as you can see, you might have an accident. Sorry, Blockade box. So let's go ahead and give this one a spray on a tester strip so you can see how the atomizer works. Come in a little closer. A little closer. A little close, too far. Okay, let's see. Oh, nice, pressurized. Ooh, nice. So this one has gotten a good amount of love. As I said, this one actually was brought up in emails to me more than any of the other fragrances across the entire house. And I could immediately tell why as soon as I smelled this stuff. Now, with it being a rose coffee niche fragrance, it's obviously going to draw immediate comparisons to Intense Cafe from Montal, which is probably the most well-known fragrance of that style. And it doesn't really smell like that. It's not really close to Intense Cafe. Intense Cafe, to me, a little bit more powdery. It does lean a bit feminine. I'm actually not a huge fan of Intense Cafe myself, so it's actually a pretty good thing for me that this doesn't remind me too much of that, other than they both have coffee and rose. And then it has also been compared to Black Phantom from By Kilian, and it does not smell like that either. By Kilian's Black Phantom, a much larger punch in the opening, a different kind of sweetness. The coffee comes across quite different than it does here as well, and the rose is also completely different. And by completely different, I mean it doesn't even exist in the By Kilian, so there's that. The rose here does not go too far down that powdery path. It's got a touch of powder, which you would expect from a fragrance that does have rose and peony among the notes, and that uses rose quite prominently, but thankfully it doesn't go too powdery. It stays a little bit fresh, but still with a nice body to it, with a good amount of depth. So not too powdery, a little bit fresh, actually, the way that rose comes across, but still maintaining a good amount of depth, nice body to the rose, so it smells very full the way that it comes across. And because it does lack that heavy hand with the powder, it actually comes across leaning a little bit masculine to me. Now, most people would say unisex, but I say unisex leaning a little masculine. The current gives you a little bit of a tart, very slightly sharp sweetness. That little fruity touch off the top, and then the coffee comes in pretty early on. And the coffee here is more of a milky, smooth coffee. It's not so much of a roast coffee bean where you smell a little bit of that burntness around the edges. You don't get that. And you get this great, lightly balsamic, warm sweetness from myrrh that comes up as the fragrance dries down, kind of swapping out with the black currant as the fragrance stays on your skin. You also get a touch of smoke from incense, but it's going to come across differently than if it were, as I said before, a roast coffee. So you have this incense wafting through a smooth, milky coffee with rose that kind of just wraps the whole thing up. It smells very nice, extremely high quality, which you would expect, because if you're gonna pony up that price point over $300, it better have good quality, because if it doesn't, it's just not worth owning, period. There's also an easy wearing woodiness that everything kind of plays off as the fragrance dries down. Ebony wood officially in the base. There's panettone as a note in the base as well, but unfortunately I don't really get too much of that. So a gourmandy sort of sweetness, no, I don't really pick that up, unfortunately. That would have been a really cool aspect to the fragrance, but it's one of those notes that you have to kind of dig your nose in and smell and then imagine like, oh yeah, I think that's the panettone. So while it's a cool fantasy note listed in there, I don't really pick that up. But still, as a coffee, slightly smoky rose fragrance, this is a great one that's extremely easy to wear. Now in terms of seasons, it's gonna be more of a fall and wintertime fragrance. It does lean more toward nighttime use as well as compared to daytime use. And as far as performance goes, for me, it's decidedly above average, but I know that niche fragrances, especially ones that are extrait de parfum, you know, that are over $300, are graded on a bit of a curve. So if you're expecting something that is an absolute monster in terms of performance, you may be let down a little bit. I'm not though, as I said, it performs above average. It does last a good amount of time, it projects well, but it's not an unchained beast. So there we go, Grand Master from Mind Games. Absolutely fantastic scent if you do love coffee-based fragrances. And if something like Intense Cafe is a little bit too, again, feminine leaning for you, something like this could be right up your alley. And while I'm a massive, massive, massive fan of By Killian's Black Phantom, I do think overall this is more wearable and easier fragrance to pull off. And I guess one other one that it has been compared to, Tom Ford Cafe Rose. I would say between those two, I would take Grand Master. Cafe Rose is obviously heavier on the rose. It's not as balanced with the coffee, and that one does lean more feminine as well. So between the two, for me personally, I would choose this one to wear 10 times out of 10. So there we go, Grand Master, again, linked in the description below. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Again, shout out soavantgarde.com if you use them, and they're linked below as well. Ashton 20% off. If you've smelled this one, let me know what you think about it, and let me know which Mind Games fragrance I should try to check out next. Again, Blockade, love that one. This one, extremely good as well. Have I nailed like the two best ones? I don't know. Let me know. I haven't smelled any of the others yet. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.